Welcome to a special Potters Pod on a pre-season trip to Andalusia in Spain. On this episode, the manager, Mark Robbins. Mark, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. For you, what makes the perfect pre-season?
Oh, wow. Right, pre-season is just a means to an end. So whilst you want to win every game, you want to get through training, you want to make sure that everybody gets through fit and ready to go. And the fact that you see things that are stepping stones towards the place that you want to be at the start of the season. But it can take people different amounts of time to get used to the levels that they need to be working at. I think the better player you can bring in, the better quality of player that you can bring in who understands those levels, you get there a little bit quicker. They get there quicker, people follow. And that's the reason behind some of the signings that we've made, and one of those being Aaron Cresswell, who signed for us the other day. So his quality is there for everybody to see. The way he works is the way that you need to work, and the quality that he shows every day is the quality that you need to demonstrate every single training session and not to waste anything. So really to build towards that, the start of the season. But in terms of games, every pre-season is different. You've got different levels of players available to you. You've got, sometimes you've lost, like this season for us, we've lost 9-10 players. We brought 4 in so far, so you've got a deficit of 6. You've got that shortfall's made up by some of the younger players, which I really like, because it gives them an opportunity to come and have a look at us and us to have a look at them and see where they're at, and really you can profile them, and that can be a really good head start for them for their season. And sometimes you get one that comes through and shows that they've done enough to warrant being around the squad for a longer period, and I'm still hopeful of that might happen. But also we're working towards a number of different players maybe that are coming through the door as well. So exciting times. Pre-season's exciting. It's a new start, it's a fresh start for everybody. Of course, everybody looks at what everybody else is doing, but that doesn't really matter to anybody, really. You just look and see who's got those grand ideas of trying to get up this season, and others that are trying to play catch up. And we're sort of in the latter category at the moment, trying to play catch up. But it's a good place for us to be, and we've just got to work to our maximum, really, just to make sure. That's all you can do. All you could ask is give the best every single day, and that generally is enough to get a really big improvement. But that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what we'll demand.
How much is it about making sure you've got all the players together somewhere away from home, where they're all concentrated, they're all around each other all the time?
Yeah, it's important, because you're living together essentially for 24/7 for a week, whilst we're building into a game next week before we come back, and that's something that's important for us. The shared experiences are important. Hopefully we can, they can get to know each other a little bit better. And certainly it's good for the new players coming in as well as the existing players, because they can see how they can see how everybody is, and we try and give them as much work as we possibly can do. So yeah, it's a period where you've got to be careful you don't try and condense everything into what can be a short period of time. But 6 weeks from start pre-season to the start of the season is quite a long time. And
you must feel like you get to know players a little bit better when you do something like this. You mentioned the new players, but when you're together, like you say, so close for 7 days, you must pick up bits that you might not have known before.
I think that's the aim. But we still see them training ground. We'll see them at meal times. We'll see them at any sort of different sessions that we'll do, whether that be a quiz, whether that be a barbecue, whatever that is. You'll see them in different social settings together. But they still need to get the rest as well, so they're off to the room. So when they finish training, they'll go off to the room, or they'll do some podcasts as we're doing now, or they'll do something different with media, and that's part of their responsibility as a Stoke City player.
Can I tell you one thing, not as a professional footballer, which I absolutely love? You had to meet today at 12:30 for food, and everyone knew exactly what time they've got to meet. When you're not a footballer, you might think that pre-season trip's a bit of a holiday. It is not the case, to the point where I saw a couple of players who I won't name literally running to make sure they weren't a minute after 12:30, and I adore that.
Yeah, they know. There's consequences to being late. It has to be discipline. You have to show discipline, and they are generally pretty good. They know what the rules are. We lay those out for them really clearly. That also, if you can't do that, we have principles of play, and they've got to adhere to those as well, and they've got to understand those and how we go about the job. And if they can't be on time, it's that sort of doesn't stand you in any sort of good stead whatsoever. So they're good lads, to be fair. They're human beings as well, so they're going to mess up from time to time. But generally, they're good lads, and they're trying the best.
We've spoken before at length about your career and how you got to where you were and how you believe what you believe. But why is that discipline so important to you personally? Because, again, I'm saying this, there could be 72 other pre-season trips where it doesn't matter if they're 5 minutes late, it doesn't matter if they're 10 minutes late. Why is that important to you, do you think?
Just because it gets you in a routine, and a good routine. I think different types of discipline is good, inherently good. I mean, if that can become part of you and a part of who you are, then it helps you. You look at the armed forces. The armed forces are exactly the same. It's military precision. You talk about that all the time, and that's really important because of what you expect when they go to fight, when they go to war, or whatever's happening. They can't be late, So ultimately, if we're sportsmen, it's different. It's not that life or death scenario, but you're looking at having that discipline to be able to get to places on time, be together, doing things together, having that respect for each other that you need when you're performing to a high level, and you're trying to get to that high level. So yeah, that's why it's important. I think really when you're talking and being able to listen and understand and learn and move forward in a way that's going to improve you, it can only benefit them in the long run.
How did you look on pre-seasons when you were a player?
I didn't mind pre-season. I loved the running. It was different. For us, we never saw a ball for the first 2 weeks. We just ran. And when the ball was introduced, it was probably the first game. Nowadays, it's different. Although there is an element of running without the ball, but that's something that you do for most of the 90 minutes when you're playing. Even though you don't realise it, there's a ball in play, but you're not touching it much. But they'll get loads of touches of the ball. They'll get loads of work to run. All the different types of running they're going to have to do in a game. So they're trying to replicate that in training. It's all very much sports science related now. But obviously there is a way of going about your job that means that you have to give everything in every training session to eke out the most you possibly can do and don't waste any time. And then obviously show concentration and quality in the training session as well. It's not just a case of, right, we're here for an hour and a half or whatever it might be, 2 hours, and you've got to go out and you've got to execute what we're asking you to do, because it's the time to practice it. And then obviously when you're asked to deliver it on the main stage, when you've got full houses or when you've got a big crowd of people, then you want to be able to rely on your trainer.
You touched on it at the start of the podcast about how much a pre-season can change the course of the season for a player. Is that as stark as it can be? Like, if you really hammer it in the 6 weeks to get ready for the season, it can change either your mind or just the way that they're viewed around the club. Is that what it's like?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're always being judged. We're always being judged. But I think that could be a really good thing as you embrace that. These lads are really good, A level, whichever player we're talking about. There's some boys from the academy that have come and stepped up, and there's quite a few. But essentially they're being trained every day to do something that they actually really love doing. And it would be mental not to embrace that and really go and try and strive to see the manager, see them, because there are times in training where I do that. I look at it and talk to the staff, and this was good, this was really good, this wasn't so good, but this was brilliant, so you're assessing things all the time. So absolutely, they've got all of our eyes, and at the end of the day, if they put that work in, it can be really rewarding for them and rewarding for us as well.
You obviously not here, but you'll have seen at other clubs where people haven't really taken it as seriously, and it's really undermined what they're trying to build.
I think those players are few and far between, and have been throughout my time in football. But it can happen, and that is something that you don't want. You don't want that in your club. You want to take them with you, and you want to make sure that they are thinking along the same lines as you. Now, if they decide that they want to go a different route, they're not for me, because you can't go. You can't. But if people are just happy doing and turning up for work because, this club is a brilliant club, will get looked after really well, all of those things. If that's your lot, then you're not for me. I want us to be the best we can be in every single area. So, if it's not much to ask if you to come in to work the limited amount of time, because you can't work them all the time. Obviously, they need to recover. But if they can do that and come in and perform to the highest they possibly can do, they've got to improve all the time, and that means that we will improve alongside. So, or because of that, as a consequence of that. So, it's the demands that need to be placed, and there's obviously demands in terms of how we play. There's demands and philosophy and all of those things. And philosophy is just an idea about how we want to go about things, and that has to come down to the profile of the players that you've got, and their abilities to understand and take on board that information. How quickly they can learn to put those things into practice. Those are the things that take you forward, and pre-season is a really good breeding ground for that.
How conscious as a person are you of the impact that you have on those younger players just when you're around a place like this for the week? Because you must know, you're a normal bloke. You must notice that when you go in, that there's a load of 18, 19-year-old lads as soon as you come in, and I've seen it, this is up right, and they're making sure they're on the best behaviour. Not that they're doing anything wrong, but they're just making sure they haven't got their feet where they shouldn't be. How conscious of that are you?
I'm not that conscious of that. I don't walk into the room and think like that, but what I do is, what I try and do is just make them feel at home and feel like they're a part of it while still with us. And it's the same for everybody. Senior players are the same. They want your sort of attention at different times. They want to know what it is exactly you're thinking. They want to know, if there are things that they don't quite understand. The good ones will come and ask, and the even better ones will ask in a group setting, so you can talk about all the different things that you want to. But they have that many meetings now. The meetings, and we put them in the right order. We put them in a good way at times that they can take on board the information. Not too long, and not too many of them. But the essential meetings that they get regularly. Backed up with training, and then obviously going into games. And there's not much difference between each club. In fairness, there's not that much, but that information that they get obviously is really, really important. But you have to make sure that it's for that player. It can't be generic. It's sort of honed down into the detail of things. So, there's quite a lot of work. So a lot of work goes on from everybody that works with us, and that's. Yeah, they're really important. Everybody's really important, and they're an important cog in a bigger wheel. As
a football fan, again, when you talk about pre-season friendlies, it can be, it's just a friendly, it doesn't really matter. But you speak to ex-pros, I was speaking to one this morning, who really hates that attitude. Is that what it's like with you when it's a game? you still have to be at 100% even though it's seen as a friendly.
Yeah, well, there are means to an end. They're there to get you to try and help you get to a place where you can start in a really positive way. So, but I still think the pre-season games are that, or just that. Nobody likes losing, even in pre-season games, because it's surely inherent in everybody. The competitive nature. You don't want to lose. I don't let the kids win anything. Grandkids don't want to. You've got to earn that. So that's just the way I am, and I think that has to be how you live your life, especially as a sportsman who wants to win. If you want to win games, you want to win every game that you play. You want to win every training session, and the top players, that's where their heads at.
You look really well. You look rested.
Good, thank you.
Do you feel it? Do you feel excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I am excited. I think that the circumstances we're in, everybody knows the circumstances we're in. We're working really hard. The recruitment team have been, and John Walters is part of that. They've been working their socks off, and this part of the season is about that and getting everything as close to as much as you have wanted to do. You do as much as that as you possibly can do to stand you in good stead for the season. This is a real challenge for everybody, but for us as well. But pleased with the status quo, really. We're pleased with where we're at the moment, and then hopefully we can add to that as we go. But as I've said before, there's players here that are existing that you want them to really take that next step and really drive themselves and everybody else that's with them, and that's part of my job. That's part of us, where we've got to drive it to, and we've got to improve. And we've got to improve on the last few years. That's clear for everybody to see, and that's the challenge. So, no, I won't shy away from that. It's something that I'm really excited about, and try to move that on if possibly can.
Final question: if your family was sitting here now, would they be glad that you're going back to work more consistently than you've been off the last couple of weeks, or they enjoyed having you around?
Well, you'd have to ask them. But I think they enjoy having me around, but they also know that I love doing what I'm doing, and everybody's 100% behind that. And they want to see Stoke City have a fantastic season as much as I do.
Your wife wants to get her Saturdays back.
She's fine. She's fine. She knows. She's brilliant. You can't do anything without the support of your wife, and she's she knows how much I love it, so she's right behind me.
So thank you very much to Mark Robins for being our guest on this special edition of Potter's Pod on the pre-season tour in the south of Spain. As always, there is loads to watch on our YouTube channel, loads of things to get you ready for the new season. We'll see you soon.
Potter's Pod, the official Stoke City podcast.